This is the best meal I have ever had.
To the Mediterranean, my love.
Welcome to Health Science Declassified from Caijing Taile Huashang Show. Today we're diving into a scientifically proven strategy that can seriously slash your health risks. And trust me, it's so much more than just a diet. It's a whole philosophy for living well. You're definitely going to want to stick around to the end because we're laying out a complete health blueprint for you. All right, let's kick things off with a really critical question. It's something many of us think about when we consider our long-term health. How can you, using solid science, cut your risk of a major cardiovascular event, we're talking heart attack or stroke, by nearly a third? The answer comes from a huge landmark study, and the number? It's both shocking and, honestly, incredibly empowering. 30%. That's right. The PREDIMED study, a really authoritative piece of research, confirmed that people following a Mediterranean diet had a 30% lower relative risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from cardiovascular causes. That's a massive deal. So the big question is, how do we take this incredibly powerful tool and actually use it in our own lives for our own health management? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer. First, we'll cover why this is way more than just a diet. It's real science. Then, we'll look at how it became a world-renowned lifestyle. After that, we'll dig into the hard proof from that landmark study. We'll even go deep into the science, declassifying the anti-inflammatory war happening inside our bodies. And finally, we'll pull it all together into your very own health management blueprints. Okay, first things first, we need to be really clear about what the Mediterranean diet actually is. And here's a spoiler, it's not some super strict set of rules. Think of it more as a flexible, evidence-backed eating pattern that pretty much all the top health authorities around the world recommend. So the American Heart Association, for example, defines it as a pattern, not a strict prescription. At its core, it's all about being plant-forward. We're talking lots of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, and nuts. The main source of fat is olive oil, and you'll see moderate amounts of fish and poultry in there too.
Now, this is where things get really interesting, because it's a huge contrast to the typical Western diet many of us are used to. The Mediterranean diet is packed with dietary fiber. We're talking around 43 grams a day, plus tons of healthy monounsaturated fats from things like olive oil and all these amazing plant-based compounds called polyphenols. The Western diet? Well, that's usually high in saturated fats, refined carbs, processed foods, and a ton of added sugar. They're just built completely differently.
But the story doesn't stop with the food on your plate. Not even close. The significance of this goes way beyond nutrition. In fact, it's been elevated to the level of a World Heritage treasure. Yep, you heard that right. Back in 2010, UNESCO actually designated the Mediterranean diet as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. And this wasn't just because it's good for you. It was a celebration of it as a complete, holistic lifestyle that's woven into culture, social life, and tradition. And that's a crucial point. To get the maximum health benefits, you really have to embrace the entire lifestyle. That means regular physical activity, getting enough rest and relaxation, building strong social connections, and, this is my favorite part, conviviality. That's just a fancy word for the simple joy of sharing meals with your family and community. But how do we know for sure that this all works so well? I mean, where's the hard evidence? Well, that's where we look at the gold standard, a major clinical trial. Let's dive into the landmark study that literally changed health guidelines around the world, the PREDIMED trial. Okay, so to prove the direct effect of this eating pattern, researchers designed this massive, long-term, randomized controlled trial. They enrolled almost 7,500 people who were all at high risk for cardiovascular disease. They then split them into 3 groups. Group 1 got the Mediterranean diet plus extra virgin olive oil. Group 2 got the Mediterranean diet plus a mix of nuts, and Group 3, the control group, was put on a standard low-fat diet. And they followed these folks for nearly 5 years.
And the results? They were so clear, they basically shook up the entire world of nutrition. Just look at this. Compared to the low-fat diet group, both of the Mediterranean diet groups saw their risk of major cardiovascular events drop by, you guessed it, a staggering 30%. This was absolutely groundbreaking because it powerfully challenged the low-fat is always healthy myth that had been around for decades. It proved that the key isn't about avoiding fat, it's about eating the right kind of fat as part of a whole dietary pattern.
So, why is it so incredibly effective? The answer lies deep inside our cells. It's like there's a silent war going on, and this diet gives your body the upper hand. Let's declassify the molecular mechanisms that protect you from the inside out. You see, the root of so many chronic diseases can be traced back to two main enemies: chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. The power of the Mediterranean diet comes from the thousands of bioactive compounds packed into these foods. They deliver a potent 1-2 punch with strong anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects, hitting these problems right where it counts.
There's actually a really fascinating molecular process behind this. Think of it like this. These compounds, called polyphenols, get into your body and do two critical things at once. First, they hit the brakes on a molecule called NF-kappa B, which is basically the master switch for inflammation in your body. Turn that off and you cool things down. At the exact same time, they flip on another switch called AMPK. This one is the master controller for your cell's energy and metabolism. So you're putting out the fire and boosting your engine's efficiency all at once. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so we've covered the science. Now for the best part. How do we turn all this amazing knowledge into a personal health strategy that you can actually use?
This right here is your practical blueprint. It lays out the priorities perfectly. Your #1 fat source should be extra virgin olive oil. It's fantastic for lowering bad cholesterol. The foundation of everything is a huge variety of vegetables, fruits, and legumes to get that fiber and fight inflammation. For carbs, you want to choose whole grains to improve insulin sensitivity. You'll get more healthy fats from nuts and seeds. Use herbs and spices for flavor instead of tons of salt. Your main protein should come from fish and seafood, and you really want to limit red and processed meats. And speaking of that cornerstone ingredient, olive oil, it's so important that the European Food Safety Authority, or ESSA, has an official health claim for it. They state that olive oil polyphenols contribute to the protection of blood lipids from oxidative damage. And they have a strict standard for this too. It's just more proof that the quality of your olive oil and its polyphenol content really, really matters.
So, as we wrap this up, the evidence is crystal clear. The power to manage your health risks isn't found in some magic pill. It's in a sustainable, delicious, and honestly, joyful way of living. And that leaves us with one final thought to ponder. If a way of life that's recognized as a cultural treasure is also one of the most powerful, scientifically proven tools for a long and healthy life, what's the first small change you can make starting today? Remember, just starting with one small step can lead to profound long-term health benefits. It all adds up. If this deep dive was helpful for you, please subscribe to Caijing Chile Huosheng. Give us a like and share it with your family and friends. And we'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment with your thoughts. We'll see you in the next one.